I can't stand my roommate. This guy is the biggest scumbag in the world. Things were bad, but then they got out of control to the point where I had no choice but to give him exactly what he deserved. And when I did, I couldn't believe what happened. You see, all this started when I first moved into my place on my own, with no roommates. I was so excited. I never lived in such a nice spot by myself. But not long after I moved in, I lost my job, and the bills started stacking up. I took a temporary job working at Taco Casa in the meantime until I could find something long-term, but that wasn't gonna cut it. As much as I didn't want to, I started looking for a roommate to rent the spare bedroom out to. I didn't want to have a complete stranger as a roommate, so I asked a few friends if they knew anyone who was looking for a place. One of my friends recommended this guy, Mark, said he was a life coach. I wasn't sure about that, but I said, well, tell me more. I'd never met him before, but my friend was pretty reliable, so I took his word for it and assumed that Mark would be a good fit. This would prove to be the biggest mistake I've ever made. I had Mark over to check the place out. He seemed nice enough. He was like, oh, cool, you work at Taco Casa? Mind if I grab one? I didn't think anything of it at the time and said, sure man, go for it. Mark said he really liked the place. He agreed to the rent price and we struck a deal. The first sign that this was a bad idea was the first night he started living at my place. We were watching TV and he started bragging about how much money he made at his job and how many girls he got. I couldn't believe what a bragger he was. I started to wonder if I made a mistake. I was getting ready to go to bed when he was like, hey man, you mind if I have a taco? I was like, yeah, sure man. That was nothing compared to what happened next. I had to get up early the next morning, so I went to bed. A few hours after I went to sleep, I woke up sensing that something was weird. My new roommate was standing over my bed. Hey buddy, sorry, the air vent isn't working in my room. It's too hot in there. Mind if I hang out in here for a while? I was like, no, it's the middle of the night. Go hang out in the living room or something. He was like, oh, okay, thanks, buddy. Sorry, I'm a night owl, so I stay up all night usually. He was about to leave, and he said, oh, hey man, one more thing. Can you bring some tacos home from work tomorrow? Sure, I said. The next day, I came home from work, and the place was trashed. The living room was littered with junk.
Ew.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what's your problem, man? Why is there so much trash? And he was like, she left me, dude. Don't you have any heart or consideration for a guy going through a breakup? And I was like, breakup? I thought you said you were some kind of player or something. And he said, my side chick, man. My side chick broke up with me. This guy was in tears about a girl he was apparently cheating on some other girl with. And his solution was to binge off snacks and trash the living room. I mean, wow, this guy was unhinged. Did you bring them? He said, bring what? The tacos. Did you bring the tacos? You said you would bring home tacos. Yeah, I brought some tacos home, man. The evening was so incredibly awkward, watching my roommate crying and eating tacos. What a train wreck. These tacos are the only thing keeping my life together right now, man, he said. I smiled, but I thought to myself, what a horrible mistake it was having Mark as a roommate. The days that followed were more of the same. Messy habits, constant noise at night, loud phone conversations when I was trying to sleep. The list goes on.
I want more tacos.
I knew I had to find a way to get rid of this guy, but how? Then I got lucky. I saw that my next door neighbor posted on social media that the last couple months had been really rough for him because he'd gone through a terrible breakup with his girlfriend and that she left him for a life coach. I saw that this was a perfect opportunity to get rid of my roommate. I told Mark that my next door neighbor just had a bad breakup and that he really needed some advice from a life coach, someone who really knew what they were talking about. Of course, Mark was like, oh, no problem, man. I can definitely tell this guy how to straighten his life out. I called my neighbor and told him that my roommate was going to come over and give him some tacos to cheer him up. I opened the door to go outside when...
Hi.
Get out of here. Anyway, I opened the door to go outside so I could listen to the fight. It wasn't long after my roommate went over there that I heard yelling and fighting in his backyard. Hopefully, this would teach my roommate a lesson. I couldn't believe what happened next. Mark somehow convinced my neighbor to not only let him stay at his place, but to stay at his place rent-free, even though they just fought in my neighbor's backyard. I guess the bright side is that he wasn't my bad roommate anymore, but now he was my bad neighbor.